Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, lovely girl George.
This is the girl George in the Dragons Radio Show. I come to you from sunny Berkeley, California. And today, being it's about 4 days before Jack Kerouac's birthday, I think he'll be 93, I figured we would talk to some of the poets from L.A. at Al's Bar. They used to do a lot of shit about Jack Kerouac. We got Bobbo here from Al's Bar. And it's also International Women's Day, so I guess I'll have to represent for that. So here we got my old friend Bobbo Staron. Hi, Bobbo. What you doing?
Hi, girl George. You lovely girl George. Oh, my God, it's so exciting to talk to you. And it's appropriate today is International Women's Day because I worship the goddess. So.
Oh, good.
There you go.
I like that. You're a Taurus, right? Tauruses
yes,
are really good with women. So you're married again, huh?
I am married. I'm married to the beautiful, talented actress Marie Cheatham.
Great. So you've been married a long time? You get along
We've
good?
been married 16 years.
Wow, that's
yes.
good. That's good.
No, we're soulmates. Yeah,
Where
we found each
at?
other. We live up in the foothills in northeastern Los Angeles, just at the as far as you can get in Los Angeles and still be in Los Angeles. And there's
Altadena out there? Altadena?
No, we're west of that. We're in Tujunga area, and there's a big mountain right behind our house.
Oh, I thought you were up in Idaho or something. I didn't know you were back in L.A.
Oh, I've never left. I've always been here.
Oh, I didn't know that. You disappeared 30 years ago. I haven't seen you in 30 years.
I disappeared from one parallel universe, and I slipped through, it must have been some type of vortex, and I came out the other side, and I lived in a parallel universe for almost 25 years until last year. And I suddenly looked down, and Bobbo's shoes were on my feet.
So I know you from Al's Bar. When I first came in Al's Bar in like 1984, there was poets there on No Talent Night. It wasn't musicians; it was poets. I think there was one musician that ran it that looked like a cowboy, but the rest was you and S.A. Griffin and a bunch of other poets that threw stuff at each other. I never seen such a thing. Because I played in North Beach at the Coffee Gallery where the poets there were, poets. They were beat poets that paid respect to everybody. You guys didn't respect nothing. You threw stuff at each other. You heckled each other. It was the most amazing thing I ever seen. And you accepted me. When I went up there, you guys liked what I did. So
oh, my God. Love you. Love you to this day. Loved you the moment I first saw you, and have loved you ever since. The way that came about was I had been I was a punk rocker. Back in the very
really?
first punk rock scene, so I had my band Ayn Rand, and, Club 88, the whole thing, all those clubs and everything. So we played those for a couple of years, and then I just got burnt out from punk rock. So I picked up my acoustic guitar again, which I had been a folk singer before a punk rocker, from when I was a teenager. And I started playing sort of punk rock songs acoustically. There were no folk singers then around. I mean, after, the punk scene happened, you never saw an acoustic guitar for years and years and years, and there weren't coffee houses or any place to play like that, except maybe one or two. There's a place in Pasadena. So Al's Bar was one of the places that you could actually get in front of an audience. So originally I started going down there with my acoustic guitar and singing and playing songs. But I had seen Allen Ginsberg, speaking of Kerouac, perform at the Wadsworth Theater, where he recited his poems playing an harmonium You know, that little instrument that you kind of squeeze, and it's a little keyboard, and it works on a air-controlled bellows. Anyway, and kind of an old-timey instrument. And he just filled that place and sat there on a stage in his, you know, little rumpled suit and taught, you know, sort of sang, recited his songs and played this accompaniment on this tiny little keyboard. And when I saw that, it opened up a whole new idea of how to sort of go from the traditional standing there with a guitar to how else can I get this across. So I started playing things on unusual instruments. I mean, tapping on a table, you know, wood blocks, all kinds of things. And it was from doing those kind of things that I ran into S.A. and those guys. And that's how that evolved, but it actually came out of music, and it came right from Allen Ginsberg. So there you go. And I had a
How
record.
did you guys get to the Owl's Bar, and who started No Talent Night? Where'd that come from?
All I know is that was Charlie Becker and Ron Kreisel, I think that was his name. Those were the owners of Owl's Bar, and I met Charlie Becker.
You mean Becker was one of the owners originally?
He was one of the owners, as far as if my memory serves me correct, and I'm pretty darn sure that's correct. I had
Mark
played.
Kressler. Mark is the one that ended up owning it.
That's right. Yeah.
But he claims that he started everything, but I don't think he did. Because when
I
went there, it was Becker running the open mic,
yeah.
and he had a cowboy hat on, and he kind of sung cowboy songs, and
That's
all
right.
the rest was you guys, you poets, and then there was me screaming and yelling, Johnny's got herpes.
Well, I've played. I couldn't even tell you how many times I've played at Al's Bar. Not only on their open night, but after that, and I went back to. I had a trio for years after that, and we played. Oh my God, so many times at Al's Bar. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many times we played there. You know, music as a band. So yeah, Al's Bar runs through my veins. And I wish I had.
They're
my
making
t-shirt.
a movie about it now. Did you know that?
No, I didn't, but I'm not surprised.
Well, you
I wish I had the T-shirts.
You should get a hold of those people before it's all done, because I think they're pretty much near through filming it. It's called Tales of the American. You can find it on the web.
Yeah.
And tell them that you should be interviewed for it, because I don't think they interviewed any of the poets. They interviewed people that were there later.
Well, remember the American Hotel right next door? I mean, maybe it's still
it's up above. Up above was the American Hotel.
Yeah, above. Well, I went down there and actually looked at a place thinking about living there once. And as bohemian as I have been in my life, I found the bathroom at the end of the hallway daunting.
Well, the ones downstairs were pretty bad, too.
Yeah. So that was quite a scene. Wow, it's so different down there now. It's funny because I was playing in a little swing band, and we had a sort of a residency at a brewery downtown, right down the street from the former location of Al's Bar. So it was interesting to be back in that neighborhood, but it's completely different.
Now, the open-ended was. Did that start out just as a birthday party for Jack Kerouac?
Well, actually, I can't speak to that because that was after my time with those guys.
Oh, you had already left by then?
Well, I just wasn't part of their group, so that was something that I wasn't involved in that. So I don't really know much about that. Yeah, I can't really speak to that.
Well, I got the flyer for it, and it says open-ended, and it says, Jack Kerouac's birthday party. What do you know about Jack Kerouac?
Well, here's how it goes. So I'm a little kid in Ohio, and I'm reading a biography about Bob Dylan because he was my hero. And in it, they talked about Jack Kerouac, and I looked at his name. I didn't even know how to pronounce it, and I thought, what is this? So I went to the library and looked it up, and that's how I heard about him, and started reading his books in high school. And they actually kind of gave me the blueprint for what ended up being the way my life went. From Kerouac's ability to find these jobs that allowed him time to write, that completely influenced how I sort of unplugged from the matrix, the success matrix, if you want to call it that. I mean, I have never had an actual, straight job, let's put it that way. I mean, I've had tons of, part-time jobs, backroom jobs, under-the-table jobs, cash jobs, those kind of things. But, I'm not going to have a pension or anything, at least not from that kind of thing.
I've never worked in anything but bars.
Yeah.
I've been working in bars since I was 16. I've been on my own since I was 16. I had fake IDs. So I was working as cocktail waitress, bouncer, whatever.
I moved out of
running
my house.
Shows.
I moved out of my parents' house 7 o'clock in the morning the day after I graduated high school. I loaded my car.
See you later, Ma.
Yeah, and
I didn't graduate. I quit school at 12th grade. Said, fuck this shit.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the
I went on a
last
magazine
year was
cruise.
dicey.
That was the first. Well, first I got married to get away from home so I wouldn't get thrown in jail for running away from home. So I married some jerk, and we were married for a month. And we joined a magazine crew that was going state to state, door to door, 40 people. It was a big caravan of like locusts in the town. You go door to door, and they'd spot you out and then pick you up every hour and then make you give this hot spiel. And if you didn't say it good enough at the meeting, they made you run around the block and say it again. I mean, it was like pounded into your head.
I know
was
the
best
drill.
thing that ever happened to me because I was real bashful before that. I mean, you couldn't get one word out of me. I was real bashful. And then they pounded it into me, this positive thinking, the power of positive thinking, and da-da-da, you get on top of it. So that's how I became as bold as I am.
I can totally relate. And I've done those same kind of jobs. I was down in San Diego when I first came out to California back in 1979, and I was, trying to sell texture coat, on houses over the phone, one of those kind of things. And of course I got fired, because I was absolutely horrible at it, but yes.
Oh, I was terrible. So I wouldn't do it. I was like 16. I'd go door to door, and these people, I didn't have no money. I didn't want to go bothering them, so I very rarely sold anything. And they'd say, well, if you sold $20 every pickup, you'd make your quota. So I'd go out there and I would sell exactly $20 every pickup, and but then I wouldn't sell again for another week or two. And then one time I had an order that was like $105. I mean, it was just really ridiculous. You tell people that they're voting for a magazine. They're voting to get you to go to Bermuda, and you're some school kid from around the block. And by voting, they're picking out the favorite magazines, which you don't tell them they have to buy them until afterwards. And then you tell them, oh, you won the contest, and here you give them a receipt, and they've got to give you, all this money. So I gave this guy a thing for $85, and he says, what are you going to do, make me spend all my spending money? And he had this big wad of money, and he peels it off and says, oh, I made a mistake. I'm 20 points less. So I sold him a couple more magazines and got it up to 105 because I wanted to go around it, and he gave it to me.
Well, see, that's exactly the kind of sort of street level, hustle that I learned from Kerouac and Cassidy and reading those books. I mean, many things, including kind of a lifestyle as a pickup artist in those early days, I got right out of, Subterraneans and Dharma bums, basically,
Yeah, you guys called yourselves the Carma bums, didn't you? The poets?
They did. That was the Carma bums with a C, which I now see is being used in some car commercial, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, you. Well, I hitchhiked. I hitchhiked from Nashville back to San Francisco. I went to Nashville back in '71, and I wanted to come back, for Christmas for to my family, and so I talked my bass player into hitchhiking with me. And he was younger than me. I was like about 25, and he was about 20, 21, and we hitchhiked all the way back to San Francisco from Nashville. But we were lucky. After a couple of rides, a big truck picked us up and took us all the way in, and he bought us dinner on the way there. Because he says, well, if it was one of you by yourself, I wouldn't have picked you up, because I wouldn't pick up a guy by himself because he might be crazy. I wouldn't pick up a guy; she might be a hooker. But the two of you together with the guitar, they figure, oh, that was okay. So because he likes somebody to talk to, they're all on speed.
I know.
And so he picked us up, and he just yapped his head off, and he bought us dinner and everything on the way back to San Francisco. So that was cool.
Well, see, that reminds me. When I told you I moved out from my house when I graduated high school the morning after. What I did was then drive. I was living in Mississippi. My family had moved down there, and I graduated high school there. So I drove up to New Jersey to where I had gone to high school previously, and picked up a friend of mine who was graduating the same year. We got in my car, and we drove to California. And while I was in New Jersey, I picked up a copy of On the Road, which I had already read and had, but I didn't have with me. So I thought, well, this will be a hoot. We're going on the road. So I bought a copy of On the Road, and we left from the East Coast. And I was reading it on the way, and it was a real blast because it was sort of mirroring the journey from On the Road. I mean, I remember being in East Colorado and seeing, the mountains and Denver straight ahead on that big desert highway that takes you from the east into Denver, just as those guys are coming into Denver. So that was a real trip.
I love the book, but I have to forget that I'm a woman, which I do most of the time anyway. I'm one of the guys. If you don't like it, fuck you. You treat me like one of the guys. I don't want to be, none of that sissy bullshit. Okay, so anyway, I have to really forget that I'm a woman to really get into that book, because they don't like women much. I mean, they treat them like they're disposable and usable, and there's a little problem with girls reading that book, because
Well, that's definitely from from the times. I mean, those guys came out of the World War II era. So,
yeah.
I mean, that was their background, and that was a different time. I mean, that was a completely patriarchal perspective.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank God it's changed, but not much.
No.
There's still a lot of that out there. I've fought that my whole life. That's why I go by Girl George, because if they don't like it, they can go fuck themselves. I'm the leader of them. They don't like it, too bad.
My favorite decade, of all time, for me, was the 70s. And the 70s, coming out of the 60s, and the sexual revolution and the change in attitudes and the different perspective on gender and women and the first hints of feminism, those things all happened during those times. And that's when I was, I was coming through high school. So even though I had, sort of literary heroes that I read, as an adolescent, which were these patriarchal characters, by the time the 70s came around, and I started to become a little more aware of there's another gender here that that is sharing this planet, and things are kind of fucked up in the way that they relate to one another. So that's where that came from. And
well, it should be equals. I mean, it should be equals. Why shouldn't it be equals? Why are women supposed to walk 2 steps behind the man and say, yes, sir? Bullshit.
Well, it shouldn't.
It's equal or nothing.
No, that's just a way to maintain a power paradigm. I mean, it's simply that.
Yeah. Oh, well. Things are changing, I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. No, I see a lot more women in music now, but they still hawking the girly, naked, shake your butt shit, you know.
Oh, tell me.
I mean, they
listen,
can't just stand up and say, you know, I'm equal. They're wiggling their butt and saying, "Come and get it." You know, they're
well, I started
Marilyn
to see it
Monroe. They're strippers. You know. Where I was a topless dancer, but I wasn't that kind. I did it as a joke. It was funny what I did, but I never could do I'm sexy, you know, hooker shit, you know, bullshit.
Well, when I went through the vortex and came out the other side, I worked for, you know, close to 20 years as a sideman, and I played the bass. And I played with a lot of groups here in Los Angeles, and I would, you know, constantly answer ads on Craigslist looking for a bass player, and a lot of times the ads say female bass player, which I thought was a bit of irony on the reversal of I don't know, of the
they want her as the backup man, not as a
they that's right, and they
the
want
backup
you know,
man. A bass player's a backup man.
Yeah, so it's like female bass player, and it's like, okay, you want, why does it have to be a woman? Well, the reason it has to be a woman, or you know, is because they wanted 3 guys and a sexy girl. So once again,
girls
it was
in the
like,
back.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
I know 2 girls that are bass players. One of them played with Flipper. She
yeah,
comes
I
down to
remember
the clubs
Flipper.
that I play at all the time. She's really
Well,
cool.
there were a lot
great. Well, you don't see the web, but I've got some great pictures she took of me at the club. She takes really good pictures, and she comes down to the club all the time. I play at the Missouri Lounge every Wednesday. It's an open mic, and it's sort of like Alice Bar. Everyone just hangs out there and plays, and you know, same old shit.
Well, it was funny because I do see the internet and the web. I'm not that unplugged.
Have you seen my website? Have you seen Facebook?
I have seen your Facebook page, if that's what you mean.
Oh, I got tons of shit on. Have you seen my movie? There's a movie on there.
I haven't seen your movie yet, but I will watch it right away.
Well, you got to watch my movie. They made a movie about me from Nashville. They came out from Nashville and made a movie about me and Star back in the 70s. So it's up on YouTube.
I'll check it out.
All you have to do is go to Girl George TV Show. That's the name of the YouTube channel. You'll find all kinds of amazing stuff. In fact, this show will be up there pretty soon because I take pictures. I need you to send me some pictures. And I take pictures and put it with the audio from this show, and I make a video out of that, and then I put it up on YouTube.
I think you're amazing.
So this is my 112th show. There's a lot of shows up there.
Well, back to Kerouac, if you want to.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kerouac.
The thing that happened to me then, prior to getting out of high school, and I had read another book about Dylan, written by Rizzo. I can't think of his first name. Anthony Rizzo. Anyway, it was right around the time of the Rolling Thunder Review, and it was just when I was getting out of high school. They talked about Kerouac meeting up with Allen Ginsberg in Lowell to visit Kerouac's grave, and that sort of reignited the link between music and the beats, and from that point on, that sort of re-energized me into Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg. So by the time I was out of school and making the cross-country trip, following in the footsteps of Neil Cassidy and Jack Kerouac, I was hooked. That's how I got into it. And it just was a coincidence that all those guys were big fans too. I mean, that's it's not like that's how I met SA and those guys. We weren't everybody who loves Kerouac get together. It's just so happened that we did, as far as I know. So it's interesting that it was kind of, it almost emulated the beat thing and the Merry Pranksters thing in its own little microcosm. Once again, I rode that train for, I don't know, I don't even think it was 2 years. It didn't last that long for me. I was just in and out. It was like another band. And when you're a musician, you kind of like, you're in a group, you're in another group, you're in a group, you're in a group.
Yep.
But for those guys, it was a real, I think, a real bonded family kind of thing.
Well, I think they're still doing it. I thought you and Essay were the center of the whole thing. That's the way I seen it. When I walked in, it looked like you and Essay were like joined at the hip, like you were best buddies, and that everything else revolved around that. But that's what I see.
That's a beautiful image.
Okay,
I don't know if that was the case, but I love Essay. I mean, I thought he was great, and I don't know. I think we had a mutual admiration.
Okay, we're out of time now. Thank you for being on my show, and I hope I see you again someday. Come down.
Oh my God, that
Berkeley
flew by. That time went by so fast. It was such a blast to talk to you.
Really fast. So this is the girl George and the Dragons Radio Show saying, see you later, alligator.
Everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Forming games, waging wars, paint the names upon the door. You against me, us versus them. No communicado, don't give a damn. Our kids in the street are the gross casualty now. Everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Raping the oceans with derricks for oil, lusting for money, divvy the spoils, build bigger bombs, store 'em all up. More bombs, they won't take our stuff. Push the wrong button, we're all history now. Everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Swirling out, stark raving mad, grabbing, gouging, slashing the bed. Once they want a piece and scream to be free. Now everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Just not easy. Everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Whirling out, start raving mad, grabbing, gouging, slashing the bed. Once they want a piece and